Welcome to Wine with Weta. Today, I'm so fortunate to be joined by Pauline Sorell, the author of Jassy Bear. Here's Jassy Bear. Pauline's book tells a story of a young bear on the autism spectrum, exploring communication, inclusion, and self expression in ways that's accessible for children and families. Through her work as an early years special educator, Pauline brings both heart and expertise to her storytelling, helping kids and adults alike understand the beauty of communication diversity. I can't wait to dive into her journey, the inspiration behind Jassy, and the lesson this story holds for all of us. Pauline, welcome to Wine with Weta.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our chat and telling my story.
Yeah, I can't wait. Pauline, as a speech pathologist, your book echoed everything that I share with my clients and the community every day, that you don't need words to communicate. You could use a device like with Jassy, like the
Yeah,
bear, but it also can be in other ways in which you allow the child to communicate too. Can
100%.
you please share your journey with what inspired you to write Jassy Bear, and how did that story come together?
Sure. So I have worked with uh, early years children for nearly 30 years. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I know, I'm showing my age. But I moved into early intervention probably about 8 years ago when we actually moved from South Australia up to Queensland. Um, and I started working at an early intervention centre purely for children with autism, ages 2 to 6 year olds. And I was very lucky. We did a lot of professional development, a lot of work around autism, communication, behaviors, lots of different things. Their training was incredible. And then I moved up from that centre up to one on the Sunshine Coast, where then I met this beautiful little boy called Jaska. Um, Became very, very close with his family, and to cut a long story short, we ended up leaving another centre that we'd moved to together. And I then became Jessica's support worker,
Mm,
which I absolutely love. It's the best thing ever.
mm.
And just became very, very close with the family. And I've always had this theory of you're not just looking after the child, but you have to look after the family as a whole, take them on board and support them, not just the child. And I've always had that kind of motto all through my working with children, because I think, yes, we care for the child every day on a day to day basis and everything, but you need to look beyond that and be able to support the family as well. And I think that's my passion, is being able to see the difference that I make to little Jaska. He was 4 when I first started looking after him at the centre, and he's now 7.5.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've had a few years with him. I've been his support worker now for 3 years. Um, and I don't tell people it's my work or my job. I just say that I am privileged to be able to look after him and care for him. And that's how I see it.
Oh, Pauline, they're so lucky to have you. They're so lucky to have you.
I say I'm lucky to have them as well, because they are the
Oh.
most beautiful family. Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
you're so right. It's not only supporting the child, you're supporting the family. But when we support
Yes.
the child, we're also supporting the family
That's it.
indirectly too, which is
Exactly.
like that
Yeah.
ripple effect. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and then I just saw with like our adventures, we got Jesse's now at special school, but
Mm.
previous to, he's just started in grade 1 this year. But previous to that, we would go on outings every day and go here, there, and everywhere. And I just saw such a lack of awareness for autism.
Mm.
Um and I used to just sit there and think, why do people not know? Like, why is this not out there? Why is it, hidden, I guess, in a way? Um, and in schools there are so many more children in mainstream school with
Mm.
autism now. And I just thought, it's those children in mainstream need to be educated as well on having a child in their class with autism. And I started thinking, how can I go about this? What can I do? And I've always wanted to write a children's book. And I thought, okay, this is what I need to do. This is, yeah. this is my chance now to write a book. Um, and I wanted to write it from Jassie's perspective as him and be able to tell his story. And that's
That's
how
so
it started.
special. I love
Yeah.
that. How long did it take you to write it?
If I'm being honest, I wrote it in one night.
Really? In
Yeah.
one night?
In one night, I
Oh,
just sat there in bed and it got really late, and I just sat up and got my
I was
phone
very
and I just
excited saying that. I
and I
didn't
just
expect that.
I just typed it all into my phone, and then my 17-year-old son was still awake, so I messaged him and said, "I've just written a story. Can I come and read it to you?" So I went and read it to him, and he's gone, "Oh, that's amazing, mum. That's just so good." And obviously, I've tweaked it. I've tweaked a
Yes, yes,
lot
yes,
of
of
it,
course. Yes,
but the
yes.
main bulk of the story was written in that night. Just
Oh.
flowed like it just yeah, it just all came out, and I'm typing away, and yeah, and Jessie Bear was born like that.
Oh, I
So,
love that.
yeah, yeah. And we actually call Jaska Jessie Bear. That's where that came from. His parents call him Jessie Bear. So that's why I then thought, let me call the book Jessie Bear and create it as a bear rather than a child.
Her names, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it's more generic to have it as a bear.
You've raised 2 great points, lack of awareness in
Mhm.
society and kids in mainstream schooling don't know how to even engage with a
No,
child that's
no.
autistic. As a speech pathologist, I say the way to helping a child understand something different is through something they enjoy, which is book reading. And you've
Yeah.
depicted the challenges that autistic kids face, but in a way that other children can understand. When we're looking at Jassy himself, what character how did Jassy's character develop, particularly through his journey of communication?
So the character, I knew I wanted it to be a cute bear because
Mhm.
Jaska is very, very
He's a
cute.
cute bear.
So I wanted it to be a cute bear, and I wanted it obviously to be relatable to children. So I was very fortunate to work alongside Jaska's speech pathologist, Michaela, who is my illustrator, which
Oh.
yeah, which is actually incredible. And that just came about from one session we were at speech. Um, and we're talking about the lack of awareness in the community for
Mm.
autism. And I just said to her, "Oh, I've actually written a book about Jessie Bear, blah, 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 that kind of thing." And said, "So I'm just searching for an illustrator. Do you know anyone that draws?" And she said, "Oh, I actually do drawings and can illustrate." So backwards and forwards, and she sent me some drawings of bears. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I like that, but it's not quite what I wanted." So we went backwards and forwards with a few, and then she sent that one through, and I was like, "That's it. Yeah, that is exactly what we want Jessie Bear to look like." So it was really important to have his speech device in there. That was
Mm.
one of the first things I wanted in there because I've obviously read a lot of children's books through my time, and I'd never seen a speech device in a children's book that explained what it was and what it was used for. And the same with his chewy necklace. I'd never seen
Mm.
a book that incorporated that either. So there were two things that straight away I was adamant I had to have those in the book as an education and an awareness for those because
Mm.
we when we're out and about, I have a lot of children come over to us, and I'll have Jassie's iPad AAC around my neck,
Mhm.
and they'll come and say, "Why has he brought his iPad to the playground,
Mm.
or why has he brought his iPad to the zoo, or wherever we might be?" So I then can show them and explain to them, and then they want to press all the little buttons and hear the voice. And quite often, parents then will come over and say, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry they're bothering you." And I take that and just say, "Please do not ever apologize. Like, I love that they're showing an interest in it and they
Mm.
actually want to learn about it." Because I think that that's the only way children who aren't used to seeing one will actually learn about it.
Mhm.
So my daughter is a primary school teacher, and one of her colleagues has a child in their class using an AAC. And she's actually read Jassie's book to the students and said once
Oh,
she'd
so
read it, which
cute.
is really cute, once she had read it to the students, they understood a lot more about her AAC then from reading Jassie Bear. And she said
Yeah.
they understood then. And someone had escorted her, and they got to the toilet in twos and things. Someone had gone with her and then tapped on the AAC wash hands and things like that. So that was
Oh.
really cute. And I thought, yeah, that's the only way they learn, because so
Mm,
many children just never see them other than an iPad. They don't see it
mhm.
as an AAC. So yeah,
How did
it's
your
really important.
years of an early special educator help with this book?
Um, Obviously, in the way of reading so many books to
Mhm.
children, you learn the language that children
Yes.
relate to. um Keeping it at a level, keeping it a very, very basic language, not putting in any complicated words, because you just, I wanted the book to flow and not be one of those books where children had to keep asking questions partway through because
Mm,
they didn't understand what a word was, or they didn't understand it. So I think that was really important to me, to keep it very simple, for not only for, like, I wanted it so that it would help siblings of children with autism, but I also wanted people like Jaska and, all the other little Jassy bears of the world. I wanted them to be able to relate to it as well, by seeing the pictures and seeing the AAC in a book, seeing the talker in a book, seeing the sensory page that I've got in there. And then they actually read. I've had a lot of messages from parents saying their children on the spectrum related to the book, about seeing themselves in there, seeing their AAC, seeing their talker, seeing their chewy necklace. They related to it because it's like them. And I think
yeah,
that was something that I knew from my education, that I wanted it to be as relatable, because that's the only way children learn, and that's the only way they will engage in something, is if it's
yeah,
relatable to them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I love about this book, it's part of normal, like it's part of everyday routine, and it makes
Yeah.
Jassy part of the crowd as opposed to being part that's not included. Like it's
Yes.
definitely an inclusive book that shows he's one of you. He just talks a
Yeah.
different way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And that was a big thing, because I think I've got a line in the book where it says, because I can't talk doesn't mean I can't hear. And I
Mm.
think a lot of people see
Or
children
even
like
understand.
Jaska, or
Mm.
understand, exactly. And I
Mm.
think a lot of people see that a child can't speak, and straight away they think they don't understand, they can't hear you. So they'll talk over them or about them more. Um, yeah, I just think it was important to put that in there, that just because he doesn't speak with his verbal voice, um, he can still hear things that are being
Yeah.
said around him and things. And we can tell that on the page I've got in the book, where it says, when we say we love you, Jessie Bear, he loves it. Like, he jumps up and down, and
He
he
understands
he
that. Yeah.
understands 100%. Yeah. When you say, oh, we walk out of school, I pick him up from school, and we'll be walking back to the car, and I'll say, "You had such a good day today. I'm so proud of you." And he just looks up at me, and he
Mm.
knows exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
I love
important to
it.
point that out to
I
people.
love that in speech pathology, we talk about multidisciplinary approach and working with a team. You've made this book a team effort between yourself, you're the client, the parent, and the speech pathologist
Yeah.
who's the illustrator. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. And it just
Yeah.
reinforces the message of community and the
Yes.
importance
Oh,
of working
100%.
together to help everyone out. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, a lot of people then would just see, the speech, like your role as a speech pathologist, that you go once a week and that's it. You just go and do
Mm,
that hour session. Then you might go to see your OT for an hour of a session per week, and that's it. But I think my part of being Jessica's support worker is to take the things from speech and from OT and continue those in our everyday things that we do,
yeah.
take those things on board and not go, oh, well, we only do it for that 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
We have to keep doing that, because that's the only way the kids will learn.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you've intertwined all of that in the book too, which is great to reinforce that
Yeah.
message.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it is
Mm.
such an important, I see it as being very important what I do in being able to guide him and support him and love him, but also take on board what,
The
his
allied
speech in his
health.
OT and school
Yeah.
as well, working alongside his teachers as well, which is really important.
It's all about
Yeah.
community, all about community.
Absolutely. Definitely.
What reactions or feedback have you received from families and educators about this book?
amazing feedback.
Yeah,
It's
of
been so
course.
beautiful, so beautiful. Quite overwhelming to start off with. I was like, whoa. I think I wrote the book, and I think because
When did you
it
write the book?
so it was up for pre-order on the 20th of October
Oh, last
last year,
year.
which is actually Jaska's birthday.
2025.
Yes, it's
Oh,
actually
on
his
his
birthday. I wanted it. Yeah,
birthday.
I
Oh.
wanted to do it on his birthday. Um, so it went up on the 20th, and overnight it went at 6 p.m. and overnight there was 500 orders. So it was pretty amazing, which
Wow.
is due to his mum having her
Yes,
content creation,
her
and
portfolio. Yeah.
she's been incredible for promoting everything, which I'm very, very grateful for. Um, so that was amazing. But just then, when people were received, the books didn't actually get sent out till the start of December. But
Mhm.
within a week, I was getting reviews and just messages, so many messages coming through from parents. The one I had, I think it was the first review I actually had, and a parent messaged and said she'd read it to her 4-year-old little boy before he went to bed. And she actually had recorded it, and she sent me the little clip at the end. And
Oh.
he'd said, Mummy, if I ever see Jessie Bear at the beach, I'll say, do you want to be my friend? And that was like, that's
Oh.
why I wrote it. That's why I wrote it.
You're creating change, Pauline.
Yeah, it was
Like, they're
just
they're seeing
beautiful.
their friends in this book. They're seeing
Yeah,
someone that they know in this book, and
yeah,
sometimes, like, kids just don't know. And you mentioned earlier, parents are quite stunned that a child and ask that questions that they might see as inappropriate, but it's about allowing the child to enter this world and be
yes,
curious and ask the
yeah,
questions. There's nothing wrong with asking someone with additional needs, "What's going on? How can I understand
yes.
that better?" Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think that I think it's lovely when children do ask
Yeah.
questions, because it does. That's the only way they are going to learn. Yeah,
100%,
yeah, yeah.
100%. We don't want to raise ignorant children, we want to raise
No,
curious children. Yeah,
curious and compassionate children. Yes,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
How do you envisage Jassy Bear being used at home, in the classrooms, or in therapy settings?
Well, I know it is being used in schools, which is very special, and early
Yeah.
childhood settings, because I have had messages from people. Um, And it has gone into some therapist settings as well. I've had people message saying they'd ordered the book and they're using it in speech sessions. Someone was actually using it. Queensland Allied Health were using it
Oh, wow.
in a music session, in music therapy, which was really special as well. So I think in schools, I know a lot of parents that have ordered it with children with autism have ordered one for themselves for home and one for their daycare or their
Mhm,
prep class or whatever. And they've said they've done it so that their child's friends at school or daycare are then learning more about their child,
yeah,
because they said otherwise they don't understand about it. So I think that's been really special, that it's been
mhm,
used as an education tool within schools to make the other children understand
mm.
ASD a lot more. So that's
I
really
love
heartwarming.
how
That's special.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
how you haven't specifically illustrated one type of device, 'cause lots of children have different sizes
Yes.
and different, so
Yes.
it's, universal, so we're
Yeah,
not
we had
actually,
to make one up.
specific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think legally you can't copy Prolo or LAMP,
No,
so we just
no.
had to make up our own. Yeah,
But that was
just our
great
own.
because it's the universal language of,
Yes,
"This isn't just an iPad, it's my
yes,
voice." Yeah.
yes, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, a lot of people don't see it as being that, do they?
And Jessie
Unfortunately.
Bear went to different area, like, environments, which is so important to know that these kids can go to the beach, these kids can go to the park, and they can
Yes,
communicate in those environments in their own way
yes,
using this device, and that's
definitely.
completely okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we find that when we take Jaska, he loves Australia Zoo,
Yeah.
um, loves that place, and just being able to use his device there, and we've got the animals in there,
Mm.
and being able to show it to him and saying, "Where do you want to go next? Do you want to go see the kangaroos? Do you want to go and see the giraffes?" He always picks the giraffes; they're the furthest away, so we always do the big walk. But
Yeah.
just being able to use it in those places, sea life as well, using it there, and just being able to show him the animals on there and show him that it can be used when we're out and about in places. Well, it's not just to be used
Therapy.
at
Yeah.
home or at therapy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And at the shops, like today, just having morning tea, just being able to show him on his AAC, watermelon and strawberries. Which one would you like? And just using it all as much as you can possibly use it.
Now I wanna ask you a speechy question. Does
Yeah.
AAC delay communication, Pauline,
Oh,
as everyone thinks?
no, it does not, Rita. People do, don't they? So
How?
many
Why
people
not? Tell
say,
me
I
how.
know, so many people say, oh, but if he's using that, is he ever going to learn to talk? Because then he'll just think that's how he talks. I say, no, because this encourages him to listen to the words and know that, for example, if he taps car because he loves his cars, he will get a car. So he
Yeah.
knows that he's still saying that word and getting the response, um, and showing people that obviously. I think, yeah, a lot of people are so frustrating. A lot of
Yeah,
people
it's
do
frustrating
just
to hear.
say, it is, isn't
Mm.
it? They do just say, oh, but it'll stop him from talking. It'll stop him from ever knowing to use his actual
Own
voice.
mouth. Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
no, it encourages that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
How
that's again that lack
has
of education, isn't it, on
yeah,
what
how
AAC is
has
about.
Jaska using an AAC changed his communication? What have you
He's
noticed?
Jaska's still in the early stages of
Mhm,
his AAC, and he started on Prolo,
mhm.
and we actually just changed over to LAMP only probably 2 months ago.
Yeah,
But we're finding on LAMP he's actually a lot more interested in it than he was on Prolo.
Prolo. Mhm.
So yeah, and each child obviously very different, very different for different children. But he is finding, showing more interest in LAMP, which is really good. Um, so we're still in
Sorry to
the early
interrupt you,
stages.
but
Yeah.
because he's more interested, he's more willing to communicate.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely,
Mm,
and we're noticing that a lot with, if we type a sentence into the top, like in the mornings when we're leaving to go to school, we'll put in
mm.
the top goodbye, mummy, daddy, and his brother and sister. We type that into the top, and then we get him. We're holding his finger and showing him what to do. Whereas now he's actually getting his finger ready to do it himself, which is amazing. And
Mm,
it's such an incredible step that he's doing that. Songs, he's very music driven. He loves his
mm.
music. Um, so obviously he's got a folder on his AAC, which is his favorite songs. And he will look at that page like he's looking and going, what do I want to listen to? And then the finger will go to the
Yeah.
song. And that's so special to see because he's choosing. He's
And I'm
able to make that
anticipating
choice.
because he's
Yeah.
interested, he's communicating
Yes.
through the device, there's
Yeah,
reduced
definitely.
frustration. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
which is amazing.
Yeah, so I
Po
can see it being a huge success for him, but like I said, we're still in the early stages, but he's certainly showing a lot more interest in the
yeah.
lamp than he did with the other one, which, yeah, each child takes
Pa
their own choice.
Pauline, I know people may hear the joy through the tone of your voice and see your face light up if they're watching this on the video. I can only imagine the joy of being Jaska's support worker does for you spiritually, emotionally, and the
Yes.
endless support it gives to his parents. Let's advocate now for support workers. Why are they crucial for families raising a
Oh,
neurodivergent child?
oh,
Especially, and the reason why I want to say this, there's so much confusion with what's important for NDIS and why do parents need this? It's an
mm,
essential need for families.
yes.
Please, let's advocate for that.
Yes.
Why is it?
Yes.
Mm.
Oh, how long do we have? I could go on about this. Um, well, I honestly see and this is not me blowing my own trumpet, but I do see the
You
huge
deserve to
difference.
because you're
No, but,
amazing.
but it's hard to do that. But seeing the difference I make for Jessica's parents, Catherine and Josh,
Mm,
because some days are very, very challenging, very difficult for them, as it is for hundreds of other families with children with any form of disability. I
mm,
see them at Jessica's school. They're trying to wrangle a child out of the car, or that kind of thing. And just the total care and burnout that these parents get. is heartbreaking to witness. We went through a real challenging time with Jaska about 18 months ago. He was going through a really, really rough time. And I saw the just that heartache that it brought to Catherine and Josh and to me.
Mm,
Just seeing Jaska struggle and us not being able to understand what was wrong. You go through the whole, does he have a headache? Does he have a toothache? Does he have a stomach ache? um has he hurt his arms? He hurt his leg? Is he you actually, because he can't tell you. So I think
mm,
them having me as an extra support, because obviously it's very difficult for them to do it 24/7. And I just think there are so many families in a similar situation that are desperate to get support workers. I've had people message me saying, they just can't get a support worker. It's not in their funding.
mm.
They're at their wits' end. They absolutely adore, love their child to pieces, but they have that carer burnout.
Yeah.
And I think me being able to get there at 7:15 in the morning, Jessica sometimes has been up. He might have been up since midnight. He might have
Mm.
been up since 5 a.m. It can vary. Me getting there at 7:15 is, I was going to say, like a breath of fresh air, but again, that's me blowing my own trumpet. But it is
No, but it
because I'm
is.
then
It's
there
like,
to take over. I'm there to
yeah, that
take over, and
support.
they can
Mm.
step back a bit. And I remember Josh, Jessica's dad, I think it was my last birthday message, um, just sent me a message, and he just said he feels safe as soon as I walk through the door. And
Oh,
it just meant so much to me
I
that
just got goosebumps.
I make them feel safe. And I think they've said to me a lot, I understand everything about Jaska, so they can just hand him over to me if they've had, the night from hell. They can hand him to me, and they know they don't have to say, oh, da da da, da, he needs this, he needs
Mm,
that.
mm,
I can
mm,
just go,
mm.
right, okay, I've got this. You guys need to take a break. And I
Yeah.
just think so many families are at that absolute
Wits
burnout,
end, yeah. Mm,
wits end. And people say, oh, but it's their child, it's what they need to do. But it's not nobody can do what these parents do 24/7 without a break, without help.
mm.
No one can do it. it's
Yeah,
it's impossible for anybody. They can be the strongest parents, they love their child more than anything, but they need a break. They need that break, and I think that's where support workers come into it. um I do think some support workers go into it for the wrong reason, and that
yeah,
upsets
I get
me.
that.
That does
Mm.
upset me. They say, "Oh, it's an easy way, we can go to the shops, I can sit and get a coffee, do that kind of thing."
No.
And it's like, "No, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the child, for the however old your client might be. You're here to do what they need you to do. You are here to meet their goals. You are here to meet their daily routine, their keep them safe, keep them fed, you're there to do what you need to do for that child." And I think that's what being a support worker is. And there needs to be a lot more of us that are
Yeah,
doing it for the reason that I'm doing it. And it is to help families and help Catherine and Josh. And I would do absolutely anything for them. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for your honesty and vulnerability there because there is a misconception of what support workers do. It's not just going to get the
Yeah.
coffee, it's
That's it.
supporting the family
Yeah.
emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally, because raising a child with additional needs is very taxing
Very
on
much so.
every
Yeah.
element in their family. And not to
Yes.
mention, and also to mention, sorry, other children are involved too. It's
Yes.
just not that one child, right?
That's
So
right. Yeah,
they have
that's it.
other children to care for.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the lovely thing for me is that when they gone away for weekends and things, I go as well.
Mm,
Um, and I know that doesn't happen with every support worker. I think because I'm very close with them, it's obviously a
mm,
lot easier. But I think that's important too, because then I can then take Jasker off and do something with him, and they can spend an hour with the other two kids and do something with them. And again, I'll just go and do something. They don't need to know where I've gone or how long we'll be.
mm.
They just know that we're going
They
to be
just know.
fine and we'll be back when we're back, kind of thing. But I think that, yeah, there is such a misconception on support workers.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot that do rot the system, and I think there needs to be a lot more investigation into that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
um, whether it needs to be like I have a qualification, um,
Mm.
and whether it's that there needs to be a qualification because there are so many people just going into it for the wrong reason. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the
Yeah,
what
that's
the
another podcast,
answer
I
is,
think,
but yeah,
yeah,
that's another one.
and it's
Yeah.
very complex, but I guess we're having the discussion here that this is important. This is a need for families and
Yeah,
people going in for
definitely.
the right reasons into this
Yes,
role and
definitely.
knowing I'm assuming, Pauline, it's not a very easy role too. It's a quite a challenging role that you can lots of challenges can come with
Yes.
this role as well.
Yeah.
However, we're having the conversation. We're making
Yes.
people
Yep.
talk about it. And like with Jessie Bear, having the
Yeah.
conversation, we're having the
Yes.
conversation why support workers are essential for
Yes.
families. Yeah.
They are for sure. And I just wish they were more accessible for
Mm.
people in remote areas as well. I think I've
Mm.
had a couple of families reach out. They're a little bit more remote and they just said, oh, it's just not a thing where they are. And
Wow.
I think it doesn't, disability isn't just in the cities or it's, wherever it is, it's going to
Everywhere.
be,
Doesn't
it's
discriminate.
everywhere.
No, it
That's
doesn't
right.
discriminate.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be better if they were more easily accessible and
Yeah.
funded. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pauline, the messages here on the podcast today are about inclusion, awareness, understanding, and knowing that it's beyond words when a child's
Mhm.
communicating. It's actually creating a safe place for a child to communicate, but understanding different methods of communication. Clearly, your book has had a lasting impact to so many young families and adults too. From this discussion here on the podcast, what key message or takeaway do you hope children and families gain from your story as well as Jassie's story too?
Um, I hope from excuse my dog, she's just barking out there, if you
I
can hear
can't
her.
hear her.
Oh, that's okay. She's just going crazy.
She
Um,
wants to contribute to Wine
she
with
wants to
Weta. What
join
does she
in.
have
She
to
wants
say?
she does. She wants to join in. Um, I hope that people just from reading Jessie Bear, I just hope that they learn that the children with not just autism, but all children with disabilities deserve to be seen, deserve to be heard, deserve to be understood and accepted. And I think there's a difference between someone saying, "Oh yeah, well we accept them. Yeah, we do accept them," but then
Mm, yeah,
include them, like 100% include them. Um, why can't they be invited to birthday parties? Why can't they be invited to play days at the park or at a friend's house? And I think through my book, that's what I want to educate parents and carers, educators, that these children do deserve to be seen. They deserve to be accepted and they deserve to be understood. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also
Pauline,
that there is more ways of communication too.
mm,
Like you've got, just because they don't verbally say their words doesn't mean that they don't have anything to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So
Yeah.
agree. Pauline, your episode on Wine with Waiter today has been so touching and really refreshing. Really, really, you've been
Thank
my first
you.
support worker. Yeah, yes,
Oh, I
yeah,
feel
really nice to
honored.
see your perspective. Thank you. You're not just an author, but you're here sharing your role and the essential role of as a support worker. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
As you know, on Wine with Weeda, I always ask
I know
my
you do.
guests this one question.
I've been
I'm sure
thinking
you're
about this
prepared.
one. I'm prepared. Yes.
Pauline, if you
Yes.
were to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, what word will you apply to yourself today?
Straight off the top, because I knew this was coming. Believe is my word. Believe. Yeah.
Please
So
explain.
So believe in myself and what I'm doing. Believe that other people are going to accept and include children with autism. And I think moving forward, I just need to believe that that is going to happen and believe that I can help that to happen through my book as well. Because Jassy Bear there's lots more of them coming. The
I
next one is
can't
being
wait.
written as we speak. Well, not as we speak, it is being written.
When
Yes.
do you anticipate for this to be launched?
This will be October again. I plan on doing it on Jaska's birthday again. Yeah.
Oh, so special.
Yes. Yes.
For anyone that wants to follow Pauline on social media, I will include her Instagram handle in the show notes. If you would also love to purchase Jassy Bear, I'll put the link in the show notes too. But I know Pauline, without a doubt, will be happy to answer any of your questions via her Instagram or email. Let's celebrate our kids. Let's celebrate our neurodivergent children, and let's celebrate all forms of communication, because all words are meaningful, even if they're not spoken, right?
Yes,
And I hope
absolutely.
you've reinforced this message or believed this message more here on the podcast today. Pauline, you have been a breath of fresh air, and Jaska and his family are so lucky to have you. But the autism community or even disability community are just even better because of your book that you've written for them to
Oh,
advocate for them. So
thank
thank you for
you.
shining your light on this
Thank
very
you.
important topic and allowing kids voices to be heard.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. And thank you so much for having me. And let's hope it makes a difference.
My pleasure. For everyone else, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Wine with Weeda. Another episode will be brought to your ears really soon. Take care. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Wine with Weeda. I hope you found some new inspiration, learnt something new, or gained a fresh perspective. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you please leave a 5-star review, as it really helps the show get in the ears of new listeners, plus it takes 5 seconds. If you're keen for more strategies and insights, then head over to Instagram and follow RS Speech Pathology.